Up in the stands, Nate found it hard to keep his mouth closed after what he had just seen. But how? We only fought a couple of weeks ago. Was he holding back, or did he really just get that much stronger in the short amount of time? After Quinn won his first match, he had a feeling that something was missing, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Wait a minute. Where's my EXP? Just to make sure, Quinn quickly searched for another level 1 opponent. His opponent was found, and in this match, he wasted no time in dealing with the enemy. Blood Evolver victory. Again, though, there was no system message for EXP. System, what's the meaning of this? You evolve. You're now a level 10. The experience needed was reset. In simple terms, your opponent was too weak for you, so the system didn't reward you with any EXP. Quinn cursed underneath his breaths. Frustrated by the situation even more, Quinn went to quickly search for his opponent, hoping it would find him a random user of a higher level that would at least give him some experience. As he used his inspect skill on his new opponent, he was now going up against a level 4 user with an earth ability. Before the match had started, Quinn failed to notice the stands around him were getting filled. More people were starting to watch his games. Hey, so do you think this is that hacker? Oh yeah, I remember seeing a forum post about it a few days ago on their website. A user who used red energy. I thought it was fake though. Well, we will just have to wait and see. Quinn, looking at his opponent, was wondering just how strong he might be. It was the first time he was fighting against a user who wore beast equipment over his whole body, which meant he would have added stats from the equipment. 3, 2, 1. The match had finally begun. This time, though, Quinn wasn't going to charge in on the get-go. He moved forward until he was within the 5-meter range of Blood Swipe and swung a single attack out as a tester. The Earth user then stomped his foot on the ground, and a solid wall of earth rose from the floor, blocking the attack. A hard earth spear had risen from behind and stabbed Quinn in the back, causing him to stumble to the floor. 46 of 55 HP. Damn, that's what I get for staying still. But before Quinn could even fully recover, several more spears had risen from the ground, coming straight for him. He rolled and dodged the first few before getting back up on his feet. This match was going to be harder than he initially thought. Windwalk, boost activated. Using the boot skill, he was able to increase his speed and avoid all the spears coming towards him from the ground. What an annoying little fly, the Earth user shouted. He then lifted both hands together to create 2 long walls that went past Quinn. As he brought his hands together, the walls moved with it. Now you can only go in one direction. With no other options, Quinn had no choice but to run straight ahead, but he had a plan. Skill daze. Daze failed, user not stunned. Oh, crap! Just then the Earth user created another wall in front of him, then started to punch the wall several times. The parts of the wall came flying out at incredible speed. The attacks were too fast for Quinn to react in time. The pieces of rock ended up hitting him one by one and sending him back. 42 of 55 HP, 38 of 55 HP, 34 of 55 HP. But Quinn gritted his teeth and managed to not fall over. I guess even with his strange red powers, he just can't beat a high level. Well, I guess it was all just hype in the end. But one person thought differently. Come on, Blood Evolver, I could beat this guy in my sleep. I know you're better than this, Nate said. Through this. The Quinn had had enough. He started charging forward once again. The Earth user created another wall in front of him and had done the same attack as last time, punching the wall, causing rocks to fly out. Let's see what's stronger. Matching each rock, Quinn started to throw out a blood swipe for every rock thrown at him. Quinn's blood swipe was clearly stronger, destroying the rocks and continuing to go forward. Seeing this, the Earth user had no choice. He jumped back and had put up rows and rows of walls between the two of them, creating a barrier around 3 meters thick. Your wall! Quinn then started to make the motion of the hammer strike, bringing the energy up from his toes to the top of his body. That's it! That's the strike that was used against me, Nate said excitedly. Nate was worried. Although it was clear the Blood Evolver was strong, it was also clear he was an amateur when it came to fighting. Take this! Blood Hammer! Quinn screamed as he let out the hammer strike, and just at the right moment, activated his blood spray at the same time. As his fist hit the wall, it instantly started to shatter and burst into pieces all over the arena. Fragments of the wall came flying out into the stadium. The strike continued to blast through the wall. This was something the Earth user had never expected. I'll just have to take the hit then, he said, but as the attack hit him, he instantly burst into blue particles, ending the game. Victory, Bloody Volver! At that moment, though, Quinn had collapsed to the floor. Soon after, though, he was transported back to his own lobby space, where his strength would be returned. The whole crowd was silenced. "Just who was that guy?" someone said. "Hey, can one of you upload that and put it on the forum? Maybe an original has managed to get their ability in the game somehow." While the others were excited and chatting away, Nate's whole body was shaking. That attack, it wasn't the same one he used against me. He knew that if he had taken that attack head-on, like he did the hammer strike last time, half of his health wouldn't have gone down. "So, you really did get stronger. Well, I will just have to get stronger then." Back inside the lobby, all of his stat points had been returned, so Quinn was no longer on the floor gasping for air like he had just sprinted a whole marathon. "The blood hammer strike skill took up a lot more stamina than I thought." The smile was suddenly on Quinn's face. "User defeated, 25 EXP gained, 40 of 100 EXP points." Finally, after defeating a level 4 ability user, the system had rewarded him for his hard work. He exited from the pod, and to his surprise, what looked like a little boy was standing in front of him. "Hey, Bloody Volver," Logan said. "Looks like we finally meet." The boy standing in front of Quinn was quite short. His height only reached to about Quinn's chest. "So how did you do it, huh?" Logan asked. He immediately walked past and shoved Quinn to the side and started inspecting the pod he was just using. He placed his hand on top of the machine and closed his eyes. "Doesn't look like any modifications have been made to the pod." "Then how?" Logan mumbled. Then, when looking at Quinn, he spotted that his watch had the number 1 displayed. "What? That's impossible, though. You use such powerful skills in the game. You should at least be a level 5. I could have sworn you were an original." In return, Quinn looked at his watch and saw the number 8 on it. Just looking at the number struck fear into his heart, and he froze. "Should I make a run for it?" "You're not thinking of running, are you? Because I haven't finished questioning you. I need to know how. How did you manage to break my game?" Logan shouted as he started to go off into a rant. "I can understand if you hacked into the system, but this I just don't understand." Logan started getting closer to Quinn as he rambled like a madman. "Why do I seem to attract the strangest people?" Quinn thought. "If you don't want to answer me here, then you can go with me to my dorm room. There's plenty of time and nobody will be able to see us." As Logan touched Quinn's hand to pull him over, something strange had happened. Ability detected. Alterations to the system are trying to be made. Alterations have been blocked. But the strangest thing was, Quinn wasn't the only one who was seeing these messages. Logan was too. He animatedly let go and touched his hand as if he had been scratched by something. Are you a—" This was it. Before Quinn could do anything, his cover had been blown. Would he have to fight to the death to keep his identity a secret? Or would he use his shadow cloak skill to hide and run away? Maybe he could run to one of the portals and live his life on another planet. "Are you a robot?" Logan shouted. "Huh?" Quinn replied, confused. You have a system. My ability confirmed it. You must be a robot with a powerful master, an ability that goes above mine. Did Richard Eno create you? That would also explain the game. A robot can't have any MC points, and those attacks must be programmed into your artificial brain." Looking at little Logan now, he just seemed like an excited little kid. Was it better off telling him the truth, or coming up with some other type of lie? Quinn thought hard. He took a deep breath. "I'm not a robot, but for some reason one day I woke up and had this system ability. Maybe it was a gift from a god, who knows. The skills you saw are some of the things I can do," Quinn replied. "Is it an ability similar to mine then? I wonder who did this to you. Maybe they turned you into an android. Android technology has come a long way, but the use of AI systems inserted into their brain was banned." Quinn looked at Logan, who now wouldn't stop staring at him. Then a thought came to his mind. He had been looking for someone who would be able to help him out with the watch. It was clear that Logan knew a lot about machinery, and something like changing the number displayed on the watch would be easy for him. "Can you keep this a secret?" Quinn replied. "Maybe the two of us can work together, perhaps find who did this to me. There are a few things I need help with." Logan was genuinely fascinated by this ability. He had never seen anything like it before, and the curiosity was already driving him mad. "Of course, it would also give me the chance to study with you." Logan then put out his hand. "The name is Logan." "Quinn," he replied, as the two shook hands. "Ability detected. Alterations to the system are trying to be made. Alterations have been blocked." Logan then pulled his hand away again, almost immediately. That does not feel good. Maybe we should avoid touching each other for now? Agreed, Quinn laughed nervously. Just outside the school at the front gates, the unexpected had just occurred. Layla was struggling to stand as she had just heard certain words come out of Vorden's mouth. First, I'm going to have to ask you to step back a bit, Layla said, and no touchy-touchy from you. Look, I'm trying to be reasonable here, Vorden said. Come on, Quinn said that you could help me. Every time she looked at Vorden, she remembered when she was being choked by him. It wasn't a good feeling, and her senses were still tingling all over the place every time he approached. If it wasn't for the fact that Aaron was standing by her side, she would have run the second she saw him coming over. The two of them soon would also be going to the portal expedition together. It was important they tried their best to make up while they could. She let out a big breath and gave in. Fine, what is it? Actually, it's related to Peter. Quinn said that you two had spoken to him while we were away on the other planet. Did you manage to get anything out of him? No, I could tell that we wouldn't. It seemed like he was scared of something, even with Aaron there threatening him, which meant whatever he was scared of was a bigger problem than Aaron, Layla said. Well, I don't think we can get anything out of Peter right now. I was hoping by outcasting him like this, he would go back to the person who put him up to this. Wait, what? Layla said. You mean you're doing this whole thing on purpose? I understand he needs to be punished, but don't you think you're going a little too far? Too far? Vorden replied. You don't even know what really happened there. Were you nearly killed by a blood-sucking beast, abandoned in a world full of monsters everywhere? Blood-sucking beasts? So did Quinn really? Just then, Layla stopped herself as she turned to look at Aaron by her side. Anyway, if you can't get anything out of Peter, then try a first-year student named Earl. He was the one hanging around Peter before this whole thing started. Earl, got it, thanks for the help, Vorden said. Oh, before I go, Aaron, do you mind if I touch your hand? Aaron stood up from the ground and looked at Vorden for a few seconds. I hope you use it well, Aaron said as she held out her hand. With her ability copied, Vorden then turned away and walked off. He's a tough one, Aaron shouted. Even with my threats, he didn't reveal anything. Don't worry, Vorden said, smiling back. I know someone who taught me a few things. Vorden continued to walk off back into school. Hey, Raiden, looks like I might have a job for you soon. Quinn and Logan were in a different part of the school building than Quinn was usually in. They were in the dorm room area, but were on the floor directly above where Quinn would usually stay and sleep. We're here, Logan said. As Quinn looked around, he noticed they were fewer doors and were further spaced apart. What is this place? Quinn asked. It's the VIP dorms. If your family makes a generous donation to the military before coming here, then you get access to one of these rooms. As he opened the door, Quinn was amazed by the sight in front of his eyes. The whole room was filled with what Quinn could only call junk. There were piles of scrap metal everywhere, and lying across the entire place were gadgets, little spaceships, controllers, and all sorts. There were two things that stood out in the room. One of them was a large human-sized tube that seemed to be hooked up to a computer and had large tube-like wires hanging from the top, and right next to that was a VR pod, one of the ones that cost 100,000 credits to buy. Logan then went to sit into his mechanical chair that instantly sprouted a load of arms and started to give him a massage. So what did you want help with? Logan asked. I was wondering if you would be able to hack the watch for me, allow it to display a number of whatever I want. I should be able to do that easily for you, but first you need to tell me why. Quinn hesitated for a little bit. He had only just met Logan. I think I know what you're thinking, Logan said. Well, trust me, I won't be telling the government, the military, or anyone anything. I'll be honest with you, Quinn, I don't care about you. I care about the person who was able to input a system into your mind. To find that person, I need you to lead me to him, and before that happens, I'm not letting anyone take you away. Logan's words sounded a little scary and harsh to Quinn, but at least they were honest. As you know, my system has a certain set of skills that are allowed to be used in the game, but the thing is, I actually do have an ability. Quinn then lifted the shadow and started to move into a giant hand, and used it to wave at Logan. If it wasn't for the fact that Logan was sitting down, he would have fallen down from the shock. What is that? So, you really are an original? Not quite. It was an ability the system already had, but for some reason, as you can see, Quinn said, pointing at his watch, it doesn't register on the watch. 1,000 thoughts started to race through Logan's mind of why it might be. The watch is a simple fix, but if I do this for you, I was wondering if you could do me a favor, Logan said, looking at the wired tube machine. Quinn started to sweat, looking at the thing. Don't look at me like that. The machine there is for the game. Will you let me put your shadow abilities in the game? Logan asked. Quinn decided to think long and hard about Logan's suggestion. I'm sorry, Quinn said. This ability is not mine. Do you know what happened to me recently? What happened to you? Logan said, puzzled. Quinn went on to explain how recently he had gone to a red portal planet along with his friend Vorden. I see, Logan said. I guess I have been in my room too much. Logan sat down, thinking for a while. The robotic hands had finished massaging him, and now behind him, coffee was being made from another machine. Well, how about this? You still help me get the ability into the game, but I won't make the ability public. If you want, you can come up here and play the game on a private server. I get to study you a bit more, and you get to practice. It's a win-win. As soon as Logan finished talking, he turned around and started to take a sip of his coffee, letting out a sigh of relief. The perfect temperature. So what do you think? There seemed to be no downside if Quinn was to agree. All right, Logan, I'll do it. Logan jumped out of his chair and had a smile on his face. Great, let's get to work. Following Logan's instructions, Quinn did as asked and got into the strange, large glass test tube. Once he was inside, the glass lowered, and now he was trapped in a small space. At the same time, Logan rushed over to his computer and started typing away. Can you hear me all okay, Quinn? Yeah, I'm a little nervous this is going to hurt. Relax, you big baby, Logan said. Now all I need you to do is slowly use your abilities while in the tube. Quinn proceeded to use his abilities as instructed. Numbers on the computer screen were scrolling about like crazy, but as Quinn looked over, it seemed like Logan wasn't typing anything. Right now, his eyes were closed, and his hand was the only thing on the computer. Is it his ability? Quinn thought. The tests continued with Quinn demonstrating his shadow cloak skill and also his shadow equip skill. And we're done, Logan said, rubbing his eyes. He then got out from his chair and started to walk over to his bed. All the data has been uploaded to that VR capsule by your side. If you want to practice, then go ahead. I'm going to take a nap. I'm beat. After lying down on his bed, a few seconds later, he was fast asleep, smiling away. He's quite trusting to be able to sleep in a room while you're still here, the system said. If only he knew what you really were. I wonder if he would feel so safe. Looks like you're starting to talk to me now, even when I don't ask you questions, Quinn replied. After entering the VR capsule and entering the game, Quinn was transported to the white space. When looking at the list of abilities, his shadow abilities had shown as one of the options. After selecting the shadow ability, Quinn immediately got to trying a few things. Over the next week, Quinn continued to come to Logan's room every day to practice using his shadow ability. Logan had long done as he promised and had hacked into the watch. Now all Quinn had to do was tap the watch fast 3 times to switch between level 1 and level 6. Then finally, after a week had passed, he had achieved what he had set out to do. His shadow control skill was now level 2, and so is his shadow equip skill. Shadow control level 2, shadow cloak level 1, dimensional void, shadow equip level 2. Looking at the other skills, Quinn was tempted to unlock some of the others, especially since one of the skills required 50 points to unlock, called Shadow Eater. But in the end, he decided to go with the system's suggestion and purchase the Shadow Void skill for 20 points. Shadow Void level 1 unlocked. Shadow Void, the ability to create a space surrounded by shadows in a specific area. The space created will last a total of 1 hour, minus 50 MC points to cast the skill. While in the VR game, Quinn tried to test out the new skill. However, when he tried using it, nothing happened. Oh, I guess Logan needs to program any new skills into the game as well. As he exited the capsule, he released it as the last time he would see the thing in a while, because tomorrow was finally the day where the first years were to go out on their first portal outing. Finally, the day for the portal outing had arrived. All the first-year students had been told to gather up in the training hall. When Quinn entered the room, he noticed it straight away. Nearly all the portals in the room had been pushed to the side of the hall, and only a single green portal stood in the center. The entire of Dell's class had arrived, which numbered around 50 students altogether. "All right, boys and girls," Dell said as he stood just in front of the portal. "When you enter the portal, the communication device on your wrist will no longer work. It is important when entering the portal you keep physical touch with the person next to you. Otherwise, you will be teleported to another location. Quinn and Vorden both already knew this well. Also, you will randomly be teleported somewhere inside the shelter. Do not be alarmed. The whole shelter is safe and guarded by the military and other travelers. The expedition is to last a week, and the goal is to bring back as many beast crystals with you as possible, Dell explained. Dell continued to explain about the portal outings. The test was also to begin as soon as the first team landed on the planet. It was up to them to decide how they should pace themselves while hunting, but the last bit of information that came from Dell's mouth was the worst news for Quinn. Please keep track of time and be well rested. This planet's day cycle is 72 hours of sunlight before it gets dark for another 72 hours, so you will need to keep track of the time yourselves, and that is everything I need to say. At that moment, Vorden and Layla turned to look at Quinn, who stood there with his mouth wide open. Don't worry, Quinn, Layla said. I packed the umbrella. Umbrella? Vorden said. I got something even better. Vorden then reached into the bag and pulled out some sun cream. Layla immediately started to laugh as she pointed at the bottle. While Layla and Vorden continued to quietly argue away, Quinn was making sure everything was in the bag, and Erin was playing around with her beast sword. The only one who wasn't, and hadn't said a word this whole time, was Peter. He had made sure to stay quite a distance away from the others. One by one, groups would be called up to enter the portal, but before the Quinn group had been called, Quinn pulled Vorden to one side to ask him a few questions. Hey, so, any news on who was behind the thing with Peter? Quinn asked. Nothing, Vorden replied. What, seriously? Yep, and when I say I roughed up the kids pretty badly, I really mean it. The only thing I found out from them was you weren't the original target. It was me, Vorden explained. Perhaps I ruffled a little too many second-year feathers. Well, I see. Well, I guess maybe we should keep an eye on Peter for now. Just then, the number of their group had been called, and they were ready to head into the portal. Standing in a row, the group stood behind each other, one in front of the other. Each was holding on to the shoulders of the person in front. At the back was Peter, and Vorden at the front. Now remember, don't let go, Dell instructed. In 7 days, you are to head to the military base and return through the portal back here. One by one, they walked through, and an odd feeling came over their body. When the group opened their eyes, they were surrounded by townsfolk chatter in all sorts. Rows of buildings and shops, market stalls selling food and weapons. They had successfully made it to the shelter. But one person wasn't happy about it at all. You are in contact with direct sunlight. Your stats will now decrease by 70%. When the group of 5 landed, they noticed that there was a circle drawn on the ground where they were, and the people walking around were doing their best to avoid it. Come on, we better move, Vorden said. Just give me Quinn said slowly, as he was already starting to sweat buckets. Quinn, I'm sorry, Layla said, as she rushed over and handed him the umbrella. What's wrong with him? Erin asked. Oh, he just really can't deal with the heat and hates the sun. He came from really far up north. I mean, like really far, Layla explained, babbling. Erin looked Quinn up and down, who now had the umbrella propped up over his head. You might be even more useless than Peter on this trip. How are you meant to fight with an umbrella in your hand? This was a major problem. If he was to fight during the day, unless he used his Shadow Void, the sun would still affect him. But Shadow Void took up half of his MC points, not leaving him much to fight with. The other option was to use Shadow Cloak. The problem with this was he was unable to use his shadow abilities to attack while using a Shadow Cloak. It was just a stealth ability. Because of these reasons, Quinn still had to hide the shadow ability for a little longer until he found a solution to the sun. They did as Vorden said, and after a couple of minutes, another group of 5 students had landed in the same circle where they were. How did you know? Quinn asked. Although the teleportation is random, it's not completely, Vorden said. Well, where should we go first? Layla asked. Let's head to the Travelers' Hall. It's a place where they have information for travelers. They walked through the shelter and eventually reached a very large hangar-like building. It was an open space with no entrance, so people were free to enter and go as they pleased. Looks like we're not the only ones here, Erin said as she looked at the groups. It was easy to spot the students as they were required to wear the military uniform. What are they doing? Layla asked as she saw them go up to the quest board. It looks like they're asking for help, Vorden said. Those from a rich family will just hire travelers to do the hunting with them. But how is that fair? Layla asked. Since when have they cared about fair? Vorden replied.
Well, there's no point worrying about it, Quinn said. All we can do is focus on ourselves and do the best we can. Says the useless one, Aaron added. The group walked up to one of the stalls that sold all sorts of items that would help with capturing beasts or even killing them. Behind the counter was an old man with a digital monocle over one eye. "How can I help you, young soldiers? I guess it's that time again when they send you all out to do your first hunt." "We were wondering if you could provide us with a map with all the hunting areas," Vorden asked. "Sure I can. That will be a total of 100 credits, though." 100? Layla said. "Are you sure you're not trying to rip us off?" The old man started laughing. "Well, that'll be 150 now because of the young lady's rudeness." Vorden brought out a single card that was gold in color. Since the watches didn't work on other planets, each student was to bring their own money card to be used. "Thank you for your business," the old man said. The group opened up the map, which was on some type of digital paper. On it, the map indicated where they were and different areas around them which were color-coded. It went from green, orange, and red. The closer the color was to red, the more populated the area was with beasts. But then, something caught Quinn's eye. When he fought against Nate a while ago in the VR game, he had asked Nate where his friend had obtained the strong, flexible cape. And the name of the planet, they said, was Kaladi. That they had forged it out of winged creature out in the desert. If this was true, then he might have just found the solution to his sun problem.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.